Hello everyone. I hope you're all doing well this afternoon. I'm doing well, but we have some things to discuss. I have some things on my mind that I need to get out. The first thing that I'll say, first and foremost, is that I'm going to be talking about some sensitive topics here, and everyone might not be ready to hear what I'm going to be talking about. And for some people, it's an issue that shouldn't be discussed at all, and I'm not about that. I am not in a position where I want to shy away from certain issues. I am becoming much more vocal now. I am becoming strengthened to be able to communicate how it is that I feel, and I'm doing so with a sense of expression and just getting out there what I need to say. So if you're in a position where you don't want to hear about what I'm going to be talking about, then please turn the video off now, because I'm not going to be, I don't want to argue with people, and I don't want to go back and forth with people as to why certain issues are important to discuss. In my mind, in my heart, this is important and it needs to be talked about. So we've had some really devastating things come up when it comes to murders, the killings of 2 black men. And this is an especially important issue for me because I am a black woman. If you guys haven't noticed, I am a black woman. I know a lot of people mistake me with being Hispanic or other things, but my father is black from Jamaica and my mother is biracial. Okay, so this topic is especially important for me to discuss because it affects me directly. It affects me directly as an individual and as someone who is the sister of 4 brothers. 4 brothers, okay? So, I'm trying to see like where to start because there's so many points that I want to hit on. But the first thing that I want to say is that this has been very upsetting. It is unfair. It's not right. It is not right what is going on. And I think most people would agree with me in saying that this is not right, what's been going on. But I want to dig a little bit deeper because I feel like even though most places can agree that this isn't right, I still feel like there's some things that we're missing. There's some things that some of us are not seeing. And I feel like it's important for us to talk about it. So the thing that I want you all to be aware of is that, and this is actually something that I brought up in the last video. That was like the main topic of my last video, was being open to understanding the different experiences that people have in this life. It's not even about being right at the end of the day. It's about being open, and it's about being compassionate for others. And I know that there are a lot of people, when it comes to racial issues, they don't want to discuss it. And this is particular among people that could be considered white, European. They're not people of color. We'll just say that. They don't necessarily say, I don't want to talk about it, but statements such as, why do you have to make this about color? I don't see color. Or there is no race, there's just the human race. All of that stuff says to me, I don't want to talk about racial issues. And it shows me that there is a certain amount of denial and dismissal when it comes to racial issues. And I'm seeing this all across the board. This is not just for the regular person that's going to work and doing their thing. This is in the spiritual community as well. Okay, because we have this misunderstanding in the spiritual community that oneness means turning a blind eye to things that are upsetting. And the thing that I want to say right now too is that when it comes to whether you consider yourself a light worker, earth angel, or whatever, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be annoyed about what's going on. And I think that people have tried to convince us for a long time that our feelings are not valid, that if we're going to be spiritual, or if we're going to achieve a certain level of self-mastery, that we can't get angry, we can't get upset. I mean, look at the Reiki precepts. Do not anger, do not worry. And I see those precepts as being a goal, not necessarily something that we need to achieve at this second, you know? And I feel that it's something that, if it is your goal, it's not something that you can hop, skip, and jump to. This is something that we have to deal with head on. And I'm all about that. I've talked about this before, that in order for us to get anywhere with anything in terms of spiritual development, we have to honor our feelings. If we feel angry, we have to allow ourselves to feel angry. If we feel sad, we have to allow ourselves to feel sad. You know, if we feel a certain way, we have to allow ourselves to feel that. You know, spirituality is about being real. It's about being in tune with yourself on all levels, not just talking to angels and working with crystals. All of that is an idea of what spirituality is. Spirituality is being in touch with yourself, because you are not just a human being in a body, you are spirit as well. So you are both of those things. And it's not about denying one for the other. We need to do both, okay? And in order for us to develop, we need to be able to accept ourselves on all levels, okay? So I want to tell everyone out there that feels ashamed because they might be upset about this or anything else that's happened in the past few weeks or months. It's okay to feel that way, you know? Acknowledge it. Allow yourself to embrace it. Whether it be fear, anger, whatever, allow yourself to embrace those feelings, okay? Because they're there for a reason, okay? And it's crazy to me, because there are people that have gotten on me for speaking my truth. I had some opposition with my last video, which I expected, and they brought it down to I was judging people and, you know, and all this stuff. Okay, let's just get this out of the way now. Yes, I may be coming across as being judgmental, but it's something that we all do. We all judge in some sort of way. So let's just get that out of the way right now. Okay, maybe I am judging, but that's not, if that's what you take from this, then maybe you have something else that you need to work on. Because I think everyone in history that has spoken their truth can be seen as being judgmental. We got to go there. Sometimes we have to go there. You know, sometimes we have to call people out. Sometimes we have to call situations out. And when it comes to the situation that has happened with George Floyd and Ahmaud, I mean, it is wrong, okay? And I take it personally because I'm a black woman and I have black brothers. I have a black father, okay? So it's and it's not just, let's say, black males. Us black females are not, you know, we're not excluded from this whole thing. And I'm going to put it out there for people that are white, European descent, that are not of color. Before you say there's only one race and don't make this about color, take a moment to consider what life is like for a person of color. And I know that might be very difficult for you because you've been on the other end of the spectrum for a very long time, okay? So you have not been able to live life through the eyes and the soul and the body of a person of color. But in order for us to truly come together, we need to be able to do that. And that was the point that I made in my last video, was being open to the experiences of others. And that's the point that I'm making now. It's the same thing. It's just a different situation. In order for us to come into this new world that I'm hearing about so much, and I believe in also, but I have a slightly different perspective, which I will discuss in a moment. In order for us to come into this new world that we're talking about, that's what needs to be done. This new world that we're going to be coming into is not about turning a blind eye to things. It's not about dismissing race. It is about seeing and acknowledging and embracing those that have a different experience than yours, okay? And I feel that this whole thing coming up with these, you know, these killings, you know, with black men, this is stuff that's been in this country forever. It's been in this country since the beginning. This country is built on the backs of slaves, okay? And instead of telling people to get over it, maybe look at it a little bit more closely, okay? Because we're not going to be able to come into any new anything if we keep pushing black people aside and acting like they don't have feelings and they should just get over slavery. The thing is that slavery was not just a one-time event thing. It went on for a very long time, and it has had an effect on everyone that has had ancestors that have been in it, you know? And we need to realize in this country that race is always a factor, okay? Race is always a factor, okay? It is a factor when it comes to the opportunities that you may have. It's a factor when it comes to maybe the amount of financial hardship that you have, the beliefs of your parents and their parents. Where do you think all that came from? It came from their ancestors, okay? So all that stuff being passed down through time, that's there as a result of the hardship and the difficulty and the horrors of what their ancestors went through, okay? So, you know, I'm trying to think, because there are people, see, the things that I have seen, comments that I've seen people make, they're not my friends, okay? They're not my friends. They're friends of friends. And, you know, I feel bad. I feel bad for people that are trying to stick up for us, that are trying to support us in the cause, but then see comments like the ones I've seen, and they just don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to respond. They get kind of scared, and, you know, they don't want to lose a friend over this. But things like human rights, I mean, they're big issues. So, like, let's say, for instance, one comment that I saw from someone that was saying, well, the racism or whatever, he didn't use the word racism. It was like, well, this whole killing and everything, it's on different levels too. And then went on to mention different European groups that have had unfair treatment. And the thing is, it's like, we're not saying that that's not wrong, but that's not what we're talking about. That's not the topic right now. And that is a very common tactic that is used to deflect from the issue. Or people that say things like, well, I'm all for the cause, but the Black Lives Matter movement is a conspiracy. It's like, that's besides the point, okay? That is besides the point, okay? Are you saying that because you feel that it's a conspiracy that Black lives don't matter? Like, I'm not sure exactly what you're getting at by saying something like that. It's like there's always a reason to turn something around, to like stand in this belief that, well, Black lives don't actually matter, you know, and this isn't an important issue. And I think that is just messed up. And I think that people really think that they're helping by saying things like that, and it's not helpful whatsoever. And then there was one comment that I saw from someone that said, well, no, it's not about color. It's just about evil people. Well, maybe put into perspective that it's not so much just, and I'm not saying that racism in terms of the mindset is not wrong or, you know, can be harmful, but it is extra harmful when you have someone that has that mindset and has the power to affect the lives of others. So people in our government, police officers. If you have that mindset and now you have a gun on your hip, now we're on a totally different level, okay? So whether or not you're racist or have these beliefs, it's about the power that you have to assert those beliefs and affect the lives of others, to take other people's lives. This is where now we're going into another territory, but see, the thing is that people that say things like that, they're not thinking about that. You know, they for some reason, they don't want to talk about racial issues, because this country, especially when it comes to white America, non-colored America, is in denial when it comes to how the horrors of slavery have affected people in this country, and the mistreatment of colored people, how that's affected people in this country. So the thing is that in order for us to be able to get to a space where we can see people for the soul of who they are, beyond the physical, we have to acknowledge the physical first. So we're not going to be able to skip over that part. And I think a lot of people, especially those, you know, I'm sorry to say, that are trying to help, you know, in the spiritual community, and feel that they're doing us a service by saying, well, I don't see color, and, you know, it's beyond color. In order for us to truly come together, we have to acknowledge, you know what, you look different from me. And because you look different from me, I'm so sorry that you have had a different experience and it's been unfortunate. Okay? That's the only way we're going to make this happen. Okay? We're not going to be able to skip that. And just to give you some perspective, the life of a black woman is when she, which is me, goes to the cemetery to get some fresh air, and her fiance tags along for a couple of minutes, and then when he leaves, he sees the police coming into the cemetery, and then proceeds to call me 5 times because he's scared that something is going to happen to me. He's scared that either they're going to hurt me or kill me. Okay, and kill is not extreme, okay, because as we can see, it's happened several times, over and over again. Okay, and honestly, for me, I was at the cemetery and I was chilling. I'm like, you know, laying back, sitting on the back of the tree, and I see the police officers and they wave at me and I'm like, hi, you know, like I wasn't even thinking on that level. And then I look at my phone, because when I'm at the park or at the cemetery, I'm not on my phone. I'm there to connect with nature. And I look at my phone and I have 5 calls and a few messages on Facebook. The police are coming in, you know, please be careful. That is the life, not even of someone who is a black woman, but of someone who is in love with a black woman, you know, who's not black, you know, Puerto Rican, but is someone that understands how things are right now and how they've been for a long time, and knows that, you know, you have to be careful, and feels that they cannot trust the police around their fiance. Okay? And the life of someone who is, let's say, a black mother, I know that my mother must be scared right now for her own son, my brother, my younger brother, and is hoping, you know, that when he does get back out there after all this is done, that nothing happens to him. You tell me, if you are someone who is white, I'm sorry, I have to say it because that's what this issue is about. Have you ever had to think about that? That maybe my son or my daughter is going to get shot down and killed because of the color of their skin? No. No, you haven't. Okay? That is the life of a black mother. Okay? And as for me, I'm thinking about my brothers. I have 4 brothers, and they all look black. There's no mistaking it. Okay? I look a little bit ambiguous. You know, so, you know, some people know right off the bat that I'm a black woman, and some people are like, okay, are you mixed with something? But for someone like me that has brothers that look black, that's kind of scary. And it's not something that I'm obsessing about, but it's in the back of my mind. Okay? It's in the back of my mind, and it's in the backs of many people's minds that have brothers, friends, close loved ones, sons, daughters, you know, that are black. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be because they did something wrong. See, that's the other thing, is people keep trying to justify why black people should be killed. Like, well, were they resisting arrest? Were they doing this? Were they doing that? It's like, okay, so that justifies the taking of a life? And quite frankly, some of the reasons why their lives were taken weren't even a big deal. And that's what makes it very upsetting too. Is that somebody, whether me, my brothers, or whoever, could get killed for no reason. Or for just like a mistake. It could be a mistake. And then there's no going back from that. So I know there are people out there, you know, that are white and European, that are wondering, you know, what is this hatred? Why do people hate black people so much? And what is the, I don't know. There are many theories on that, but I'll go with I don't know. But the thing is that we need to start educating ourselves on this, especially if you're a person that is not a member of the black community. You know, start looking into why, you know, or start looking into ways to start understanding where we're coming from, you know, our experience, our lives. You didn't live it, but you can still support us, you know, by looking into these things a little bit more deeply. Because I don't even think it's just about getting to the root of the hatred when it comes to looking into why all this is happening. We have to clear out the ignorance, you know, and we have to see in what ways is racism ingrained in our society in a way where we don't even really notice it. Just these little minuscule ways. Okay? And one thing I want to talk about as well is, this is in relation to it. When we're talking about this new earth, this new earth will not be built based upon our ability to ignore what's going on in the world. Because I know for people that are sensitive and consider themselves empaths and light workers, they don't want to hear any bad news. They don't want to hear anything bad. Okay? There was actually a post that I saw from this woman that I follow. She does angel work, and she posted an article about what happened with George Floyd. And she didn't post the video, and I haven't watched the video. I'll tell you that right now. I haven't watched the video. It's disturbing, and I don't think it's necessary. Me personally, I don't think I need to watch it. Like, I've watched enough, and I don't need to see that. But she didn't post the video. And somebody commented and said, well, I wish you would have put a warning on this. You know? And it's like, it's starting to rain like hard now. I really wish you would have put a warning on this. And it's like, warning for what? See, that level of sensitivity, I understand, but it's also not helpful. Because something is disturbing or something is upsetting, that doesn't mean that we place ourselves in a bubble to the point where we don't see it or we don't know what's going on. Personally, I think that's the point. I think that is the idea of why people of service are here right now. We see the injustice, we have a problem with it, and we work to change it. We don't change anything by seeing it, being completely divorced from it, and disconnected from it, and then going about our way. See, this new world that we're trying to build is right here. It's right here. It's not in another reality that's somewhere up in the clouds somewhere, or even in your head. This is something that we're creating on the earth right now. Okay? And it's not just going to be a reality filled with people that have the same exact beliefs as you. There's going to be all types of people, just as there have been for thousands and thousands of years. There's going to be people on this planet that have different beliefs than you. It's not, this new earth is not just going to be filled with people that work with crystals and Reiki and all this stuff. It's going to be filled with all kinds of people, just as it always has been. But the new earth is going to be based on it's going to be built on a new foundation in terms of what we are bringing into the earth. Compassion, love, understanding, okay? And how are we going to bring that into the world if we're off creating a world that's somewhere in our heads and it's separate from what's going on in front of us? That's not how it's going to work. Okay? one thing that people need to understand that work in the spiritual community, primarily New Age, is that if we want to bring change, we have to ground everything that we've gained back into the earth. So we have to come back into the world. So as much as we're connecting with angels and ascended masters and star beings and all these different ethereal energies, we're not meant to stay up there. So the whole point of us being able to tune into this stuff in the ether and tune into our souls, the whole purpose of us being able to activate our DNA and bring all this good stuff in is so we could bring it in and share it. We don't share it by keeping it to ourselves and only keeping it limited to the community of people that can understand, that do the same thing. No, it's to build a new life, even for those that are not into it. Being able to pick others up. I mean, if that's your goal, in order to be able to help people, you can't do that by being in your room all day and just doing your own thing and you're in your own reality and your own imagination. The whole point of that is to create it on Earth, in the physical world. Okay? So that's the thing. That's something that we need to keep in mind with all of this. Everything that we've gained, we are going to be bringing into the physical realm. That is actually the point of 2020. Okay? That is like one of the themes of 2020. And that's why many people that call themselves light workers and earth angels and things like that are being called to step up. Is because now everything that you've gained from tuning into yourself and tuning in with the angels, now you're going to be bringing it to the earth and start sharing it. Okay? And it doesn't necessarily have to just be psychic work or Reiki work. It could be, you know, maybe that's like your main focus. But it could be other things too. You know, so don't limit yourself to just what you're used to doing. I mean, if that's what you want to do that, you know. And I'm all about following the heart. So don't take what I'm saying as like, oh, well, I have to do this now. No, do it when you feel guided, if you feel guided. But I'm just putting it out there so you get some sort of perspective on the situation, you know. So if you've been feeling a tug or some sort of feeling within yourself that there's something missing, that you want to contribute and you haven't, start exploring ways that you can bring this more into the world, you know, instead of just keeping it to yourself or keeping it confined to a small community. But like I said, only if you feel called and guided. I am not for people doing anything that is not authentic to them. Whatever you do, it has to be from the heart, or else why are you doing it? Doesn't make any sense. Right? So trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to discuss. I thought about writing down what it is that I wanted to talk about just so I wouldn't forget anything, but I don't think so. Watch, when I get off this video, I'm going to remember. Well, if I remember anything, I'll just post it on my Instagram and Facebook pages. You know, I was going to go to the park today and it just rained so heavy. I don't know anymore. Shoot. It's a nice day too in terms of the temperature. But the last thing I want to say, and it's not necessarily about these topics, but you're going to be hearing and seeing more of me talk about things that I'm passionate about. And it won't just be about angels, and it won't just be about star beings and my experiences. It'll be about real world stuff, because that is what I am being called to talk about. And I think it's amazing how I was pushed by Spirit to start expressing myself at this point in time. Okay, I don't think anything happens just randomly like that. I think this was the time for me to really start speaking up and expressing myself. Okay? So I want to just encourage people out there that if you feel called to speak up, if you feel called to say something that is in your heart, don't resist it, okay? Because maybe that's what you need to do to bring change, if that's what you want to bring. You don't even have to necessarily make that your focal point. Just make your focal point expressing yourself, you know? And that's more than enough. That's all you need to do, is just express your truth. From there, things take care of themselves. But yeah, don't be don't be afraid of causing drama. Don't be afraid of stirring the pot. Sometimes that's what you got to do. How will anything change? How does anything change? You know, if we're too concerned about judgment and, oh, I don't want to judge, nothing would ever happen. Let me tell you. If everyone throughout history thought about that, nothing would ever happen. Okay? So don't be too worried about that. Just speak your truth, speak up, and that's it. Okay? So I send you all my love and my gratitude for watching these videos, and you'll probably see me around soon. So take care. Bye-bye.